Hello and welcome to Tennis Mental Performance. I'm Robert Anderson, and again we've got the wonderful Mark Pepin here. Mark's just back from a crazy schedule of tennis, and he's got some stories for you. And as always, we're going to learn some great mental performance tips as we go. So, big and hello to Mark. How are you?
Hi, Robert. Okay.
Okay, tell us a little bit. So, give us the outline, Mark, of the last few months since we last spoke.
Okay, yeah, it's been quite a while, Robert. I've been basically on a 3-month world tour. It was 7 countries, 10 tournaments,
Yeah.
and that as I've told all my friends, I'm just happy I didn't get injured. My biggest fear would be, you book all your flights, your
Mhm.
hotels, and say the third week you get injured, and then you have
Yeah.
to come back home, cancel everything. So I was very, very fortunate to be, matter of fact, very healthy. I didn't even get one little injury, like nothing. And 3 months of hard tennis, 73 or 74 days of matches, and yeah, very happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. So we're going to get the results in a moment. But you mentioned something there was a fear. So obviously I picked up on something like that. And a lot of people on the outside world don't think about things like this. You put a lot of prep into this. You've got sponsorship. You've had to pay flights, hotels, and plan everything out. Even the slightest injury could put all that off. So how much does that even affect your game?
Well, yeah, to be honest, Robert, when I go somewhere and play one tournament or even two, I never think about getting injured because it doesn't matter. If I get
Yeah.
injured, no problem. I just pack my bags, drive home. Well,
Mhm.
this is different when you're away for 3 months. So,
Yeah.
so in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, I hope I don't get injured. So, and I don't want to get injured.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is I end up doing more stretching, more preparation, more footwork drills, more skipping rope, just doing everything I can not to get injured.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, and it worked. I didn't get injured.
Yeah.
I'm more happy than that than my results.
It's an extra win, a bonus win.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
great advice for anybody watching. Put that little bit of extra attention into the stretching, and prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
Because if you're injured and you can't play, you're never gonna win points or matches. So the important thing is to be able to play to give yourself a chance. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
learned how to do that well over the years as well.
Yeah.
From having spoke to you. So okay, so you didn't get injured, so that's a bonus. So tell us a little bit. Was there any other challenges in those 3 months?
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're playing 3 months of tennis, it's challenging to wake up every day and be mentally prepared to step on the court and play 2 or 3 matches a day and do it for 73 days. It's very challenging. And what I did, Robert, is I kept notes of everything I did, how many tournaments I played, medals, how many matches I played really well, how many I played really bad.
Yeah,
So, the most challenging thing is to have your 100% mentally, physically,
mm,
73 or 74 days. And that was the toughest.
yeah,
But to be honest, I wrote down there was only 2 matches I played awful. I didn't want to be on the court. I wish I was somewhere else. Robert, I needed a day off. And
yeah,
I couldn't get that day off. And I went on the court and just played horribly. But on the positive side, the other 71 days I played okay. And uh, out of those 71 days, there were 2 days I played out of my mind. I could have probably beaten Roger Federer as a joke. I mean, so 2 days I played awful.
yeah,
2 days I played out of my mind. There
yeah,
was one match I was lucky to have won where it went to a 11-9 tiebreaker. And then there's 4 matches that I lost 11-9 or 12-10 in the third set. And, that kind of bothered me because they were really important matches. So,
yeah,
so that was the extent of what happened on court. So, yeah, so two
yeah.
two good days, 2 bad days, and 4 heartbreaking days, I guess we call it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. it reminds me of advice a coach gave once that everybody thinks you either have a good day or a bad day, and we don't like the bad days. But if you can come to that understanding that third of the time it's going to be okay, the time not so good,
Yeah,
and third of the time it's going to be better than okay. You know,
exactly. Yeah,
because if you had those two off days, you realize you're not a machine. You're
exactly.
being your
Yeah,
day off.
exactly. I'm human. Exactly.
Yeah, and
And you know what, Robert? Here's what's good though. I knew I had a bad day. I could tell I was getting frustrated on the court. But then the next day, what's good is I recovered. I actually played well the next day. So mentally it didn't affect me. I snapped out of it really quick. So otherwise I would have had lots of bad days. I only had two
yeah.
bad days, and those two bad days that I had, the next day I played well on the court. Yeah.
You just brought it up another question up from me, Mark, there, because I know we might have spoke, around this before, because you just said there that you had a couple of bad days, but then
Yeah.
after that you bounced back. How do
Yeah,
you think
that's
some of the players that kind of pull out of matches when they're not at their best, how do you think they bounce back? Do you think it affects them more mentally in a bad way, negative way?
yeah. I mean, I think if you pull out of a match and it's legit, then that's fine. You're injured, it really hurts, and you shake your opponent's hand and it's a walkover. But if you're losing a match, and I've seen it done, people are losing and it's 6-love, 4-1,
Yeah,
and they don't want to finish the match. They're a bit embarrassed, so they just fake an injury and walk off the court. Yeah. So they have their own demons to deal with, and that's a different story. But if it's legit, you can bounce back pretty quick.
yeah,
But I know some players that I'm not going to name names, but they're losing, so they'll fake an injury, and next thing you know, yeah, they're off the court. But then,
yeah,
they have their own set of problems to deal with, and
yeah.
that's a personal issue for them.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. There's something deeper that needs worked on a deeper level.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can't, I mean, we're not blaming them for it as well, but it's not, you want to play someone and beat them fair and square, but
Yeah,
obviously
exactly. Like, yeah, if they're going to lose, they should play the whole match and take it like a man.
yeah.
Shake hands and walk off the court and say to your opponent, you were the better player today and you deserve to win. Exactly.
There's a
Yeah.
good argument to be made there. Does it do them more good than harm? It's maybe for some, maybe for others, it's different, but is that getting humiliated, 6-love, 6-love? Affect them more? Is it pulling out of the match and being a little bit ashamed or embarrassed?
Yeah.
It's a good debate for another video.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what were your highlights? Tell us about some of the highlights of the.
Yeah. Okay. So the highlights, I was in 7 countries, 10 tournaments. I won 8 gold and 5 silver. So I'm
Wow.
yeah, very, very pleased. But on the other hand, remember I said there was 4 matches
Mhm.
where, I could have been, it could have been 14 gold and 1 silver, but it was,
Right.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty hard on myself, but yeah. So I'm happy, but it could have been a little bit better. But,
I think
but
that's why our
don't
success.
worry.
I don't think all the greats are never satisfied with their
Yeah,
lots.
exactly.
Why does Novak still want more? I think he's, trying to
Yeah.
be the best that he can be, and that's what I'm sure you're trying to do as well.
Yeah. We're never satisfied, but we try. That's
Yeah.
the key. Yeah.
It's in pursuit of excellence. So
Yeah.
tell me about the two matches. I know you were half joking there, but you said you were able to play like Roger or beat Roger Federer.
Oh,
What do you think was different on those days?
I think those 2 matches that I played, one of them was just recently in Peru, and I'm sorry, not in Peru, it was against a Peruvian player in Bolivia, and um, I, I kind of made the mistake of looking him up, his results, and I thought, oh no, this guy's really good. He's the best player in Peru, and he's the
Yeah,
best teaching pro in Peru, and I thought, well, I don't think I have a chance. And then some of my friends were saying, oh, Mark, just you got a shot, play well, use a different strategy. So I kind of went in, walking on the court, not with a defeatist attitude. Well, this guy's really good, but it's going to bring out the best of me, and I'm going to put in my maximum effort, not
yeah,
think about how good he is, but think about how well I could play, and that's what happened. I played really well, and I beat him in 3 sets. It was a really good match. Yeah.
It's interesting because I know we talk about saying, don't look at your opponent's ranking, and in case it kind
Yeah.
of gives you that little bit of fear or imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it could work for you. It's like, oh, better take this seriously and step it up.
It's Robert, it's a double-edged sword. If you
Yeah,
don't look up the guy's results and rankings, then when you walk on the court during the warm-up, you might be in a shock where the guy's so good.
yeah,
It's like, oh my, I can't believe how good this guy is. Oh no, I'm in trouble.
yeah,
Or or if you look him up and then you see all his great results, then you have the fear of how good he really is before you walk on the court.
yeah,
But I'll be honest, Robert, from all the tournament play that I do, I rarely look up the guy's results. If
yeah,
I'm a little bit curious, I'll look it up, but it's very rare that I look it up. And sure enough, when I did look it up, this guy was really good, and
yeah,
it put a bit of fear in me. But then my friends told me, don't be afraid of this guy. If you play well, you can beat him.
yeah.
So
I think some of that probably comes with your experience because you've been around a while. It's maybe for someone younger, it'd be hard to look at their rankings and think, I can beat,
yeah,
I can beat this guy, and it's
yeah,
especially if your opponent comes out of the gate, and hitting some good shots, it puts you on the back foot. So it would be pretty
yeah.
tough.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
What
Go
advice
ahead.
could you give to someone younger then in that situation? If you think back to when you were younger as well, what
Oh,
would
geez. When I was younger, Robert, I knew nothing. I, yeah. I had no idea of mental training, mental toughness. Someone said, Mark, you're playing at 2 o'clock. Well, you just show up
yeah,
and you might know who you play. And back then we didn't have internet, so you couldn't, back then, when I was young, you couldn't look up people's results. So
yeah,
I never had any idea how good my opponents were. So,
yeah.
I could never go
Probably a good thing.
online and look them up. Yeah.
Yes, it is probably a good thing. It's because what I say to people as well, there's lots of tips, tricks, and techniques, but to help if you're kind of to calm you down or your nerves, but you're so focused on applying the techniques, it takes away from your concentration of the game, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be your comments around that?
So what I've learned as I got older and wiser is not to look at the results, how good they are and who they've beaten. But what I do, Robert, is I talk to someone who knows their game. And I'll say, okay, I'm playing Frank tomorrow. What's Frank's two major weaknesses? And if they're forthcoming, then we'll say, okay, just hit high to his forehand and run him out wide to his backhand. I'll just get 2 tips and go with those 2 tips. That's
Yeah,
focused in my mind. And so when I'm playing Frank tomorrow, I know my game plan. Okay, these are his 2 weaknesses. This is what I'm going to do. So I focus on that instead of like, oh no, Frank is so good. He's beaten
yeah,
Henry and he's beaten Trevor. Oh, I'm in trouble. Oh, this guy's so good. I should never have looked up his results. So that's
yeah.
what I try and do mentally is I try to find out my players' weaknesses before I step on the court. Yeah.
And it gives you a sense of control as well. Your control. You
Yeah.
you choose what to focus on as well instead of letting you know the other person dictate what you think about what
Exactly.
they're
Instead
better
of
than
them
you.
dictating. Yeah.
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 So a good
Yeah.
good point. It's because you can always choose what to focus on. So it gives you a sense of control as well.
Yeah.
And as you rightly pointed out, Mark, it's don't focus on too much, just one or two things.
Just one or two. Yeah. Don't go in a match. I'll say this to young kids. Don't go in a match with a list of 10 things that you have to do to win the match. That's
Yeah,
just too much. Your mind will be overwhelmed. You'll actually make more mistakes. Just
yeah,
focus on, I'd say two. Two is a good number.
yeah.
Two major weaknesses and focus on that. That should get you through.
And I like the
Yeah.
way you say you didn't say to focus on how I'm swinging the racket or what is it they're doing in their swing. It's what is the other person doing wrong? Looking
Strategy.
at their
Yeah.
weaknesses to give you
Yeah,
maybe I can beat this guy. They've got weaknesses.
exactly.
That's a
Yeah.
nice attitude to approach it, especially
Yeah.
for kids as well.
Yeah.
What would you say? Obviously, you coach kids as well. What would
Yeah.
be? the main thing now. Has coaching kids changed over the years? Has it? Do you
Yes, because
tell them
well,
different
yeah,
things?
I would say with the internet, you have videos like I could hold up this phone and I can 40 years ago I teach a lesson. There were no videos. The kids could never see how they're swinging the ball. Now I can take this phone and videotape them swinging the ball and then show them right away. See, this
Yeah,
is what's wrong with your technique. So, so I think that technology has, the media technology has really advanced where
yeah,
you can go online and there's videos that they can see themselves or videos of good players or the statistics, apps of statistics, percentage of forehands missed, whatever. Yeah, so the technology has really improved to help players, no question. That's
yeah,
what's changed the most. Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
if you're not using it, you're definitely at a disadvantage because I'm sure your opponents are using it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's, everybody talks about getting that edge over your opponent. You've got to use everything. It's a
Oh,
holistic approach.
yeah. Every edge, getting to sleep, drinking lots of water, stretching, exercising, uh, doing a warm up in the morning. Yeah, you got to use every edge when you're playing a tournament, knowing when to eat. Now, not more than an hour and a half, 2 hours before. Like yeah, every edge you have to use. Yeah,
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 I mean, I always talk about mental performance, but if you're tired, you'll never have a good mental performance. Or if you eat the wrong stuff, you're never going to have a good performance.
yeah.
And as you said earlier, if you're injured, it doesn't matter how mentally sharp you are, you can't play.
There was, uh, Robert. There was one match in Mallorca, and it was really this. As a matter of fact, this is one of the times. Remember, I said there was two matches I played
Mhm.
horrible. So here's what happened. I was scheduled to play at 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
So I had my lunch at 12 and I thought, great, I've got my energy. I got pasta in me, and my match is at 3. I'm going to be fine, 100%. Oh boy, no, the match gets delayed 2 hours. Oh no, now it's delayed 3 hours. So,
uh,
uh-oh. But at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I need to eat dinner.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
I have to have food in me, but my match is scheduled between 5 and 6. But if I eat at 5, it's too much food and it's going to really slow me down
yeah,
on the court. But then if I eat nothing, I'm going to run out of energy. And
yeah,
I remember I thought, oh no, what do I do? They called my match and I had a choice: eat a big meal 10 minutes before I go on,
yeah,
or eat nothing at all. I probably made the wrong decision. I ate nothing.
yeah.
And about the seventh game in the first set, I had no energy and then played absolutely horrible. And yeah, so yeah, things like that can happen. Yeah, so
Yeah,
food is important.
it's good to have that routine, you eat at the right time, sleep at the right time. But as you've
Yeah.
just pointed out, there can be disruptions to that. So it's, how do you handle that is a big question.
Yeah,
It's
well,
disruption.
the mistake I made, I was told I should have had some bananas in my bag or some sort of chocolate bar, nothing. Like I didn't have a snack. But the thing is, when my match was originally scheduled for 3, I had eaten that big pasta meal at noon. So
Mhm.
so I was mentally ready, food
Yeah,
in me. I never even thought that I might need a snack. And then sure enough, my match got delayed. So the lesson I learned is, regardless of going forward, is no matter what time my match is, I'm going to make sure to have some little snacks in my tennis bag.
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
an inexpensive one. You can fix a couple of bananas
yeah,
or energy
yeah,
bars or something. So that's quick,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
that's good for anybody watching this.
yeah,
You smell the difference. You know,
yeah,
or if you don't have it, it can sabotage your whole performance. Um,
yeah.
okay. I just wanted to ask because you've been away for 3 months. How did you get on in the different surfaces? And I'm thinking about the temperature as well. Was there any challenge?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Austria, the weather was a bit normal and cool like Canada, so there was no adjustment there. I felt fine.
Yeah,
When I went to Mallorca, uh, it was really hot,
yeah,
but then it cooled down again. So that wasn't too bad. But when I went to South America, see, Austria and Spain were about 22 to 26 degrees. When I landed in South America, oh, all of a sudden the temperature is between 30 and 40.
yeah,
So yeah, so I had to adjust. the surface was red clay, except for just the one I played last week here in Toronto, which was hard court. So so the surface I didn't have to adjust because all the like 9 tournaments out of the 10 are on red clay. But the
Right.
heat, you know, after a while, us tennis players, we are pretty quick to the heat. Like
Yeah.
usually, the day before, practice in the heat, you'll be fine for the match. So it was hot, but I never felt overly tired. I just make sure to drink electrolytes and
Yeah.
I was fine in the heat. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was prepared. Yeah.
Okay. I still wanted to ask you about, well, you told me about one of the matches when you were playing at your very best. What was the other match like? How did that go?
Oh yeah, that would been yeah, that was a match in Mallorca where I just yeah, I played really, really well. And it was a good win. It was a doubles win. And I don't know, I was very focused, very motivated. I really wanted to win that match.
Hmm.
And and I think what happened is, when the match first starts, and if you're playing really, really well first 5 minutes, and I knew it, I said, "Oh, I'm playing well." And
Yeah.
then I continued the whole match. I didn't have what's called a letdown. I just felt well, Robert, and
Yeah.
just kept playing well the whole match. Yeah.
That's
So that's what
usually,
happened
if
in that match.
you think back in your career, is that a bit of pattern for most people, or is it a pattern for you? You start well,
Oh, no, no,
or
tennis, yeah, ugh, it's so unpredictable.
yeah,
I've had games where I play one game extremely well, the next one really bad, and then well for the whole set, and then bad second set. I think it's really, really for a lot of players to play very, very well a whole. I know some players that will play well one set, crash the next set, play off, and then come up in the third. For the most part, I'll just talk about my game. I can play pretty good most of the time, but
mhm,
there are some times where I just play awful, but thank God it's not a lot of the time. And there's a few times where I'll exceed my limit and play really, really well. But so I'm more plateau in the
yeah,
middle. It's rare that I will come really low in a match
yeah,
or extremely, extremely high way over my head.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
consistent. There's something that came to my mind there as Mark, as well. Because someone actually told me this. This is from someone that actually used to bet money on tennis.
oh
And
yeah,
so
okay,
what they used to do was, let's say a major player was playing against a big server.
yep,
They used to bet on the big server winning the first set, but the other player coming back and beating them, and they did quite okay because the odds were quite big.
yep,
Is that something that you've noticed? The big, because the better player adjusts once they've kind of sussed out the serve, and I think the intensity of the serve slows down. Maybe in
yep,
the second set, and then they can adjust more. Is that something
yeah.
that you've noticed as well?
Yeah, okay. So there's been a few times, especially when I play younger players that are in their 40s and 50s, or
Yeah,
sometimes even in their 30s, they have big serves.
yeah,
Like the younger players, their arms can move faster, and so they have a bigger serve. So when you're playing someone like that for the first time, oh, it's like your system, you're in shock mode. You have a ball coming at you 150 miles an hour.
yeah,
So yeah, so it's to their advantage the first set because I'm spending the whole first set trying to adjust my return of serve to extremely fast serve. So I might not break the guy the whole first set.
yeah,
Maybe by the 10th game I can finally return a serve. And once I've grooved into that, yeah, he has no chance in the second set.
yeah,
So yeah, so the big servers coming out of the gate, they have a huge advantage. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, anyone who's playing a big server knows that you're desperately trying to adjust to his serve just to get it back in the court. And then that's going to take a while. And it doesn't happen right off the bat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, time's coming to an end shortly. I just want you to give me some tips. If you look back in your 3 months,
Yeah.
I want you to tell me your highest point, and I want you to give us some. What have you learned? I know you know so much already. You've got a wealth of experience, but what did you key things that you learned about yourself over those 3 months as well that will take you into the next tour?
Yeah. Well, I learned that I'm a survivor. When I did this 3-month tour, a lot of my friends were saying, "Gee, Mark, can you really do this? Should you be doing this?" And I did have a little bit of self-doubt, but I just, yeah,
Brave.
I know that it can be done, that a senior player can play a 3-month tour, but it's grueling. I'll be honest, the last week I couldn't wait to get home. I was just fed up of every day having to be mentally ready, focused,
Yeah.
energized, like, play, 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 match, match. But yeah, it gets a little bit draining, mentally, physically. So I survived it. So I was very happy about that. I think you asked about the highest point. I think I won my gold medal in Austria in the mixed. That was a really difficult match. It was a very close match. That felt good
Yeah.
because that match could have went either way. And that really boosted my world ranking in the mixed. So yeah, that been my highest point. That first gold medal in Austria. Yeah,
Yeah.
no question.
Yeah. And you say it's hard, but I think it would be hard for anybody at any age, 3 solid months touring and, in the heat and, different
Yeah,
surfaces, going to different countries, different foods. So
yeah,
I think it'd be tough for anybody. So you can definitely give yourself a huge pat in the back for doing it, and from
yeah,
coming through it. That's not everybody that could do so.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what's next? What's next for Mark Pepin? What's coming up on the horizon?
Oh, now I'm on Robert. Now I'm on a nice 2-month break. Oh, wow. Yeah. So
Yeah,
this month I'm gonna hit the gym and do a bit of training, but not overly. And then
yeah,
January 20th, I head to Mexico City for 2 big ITF tournaments. So that's
yeah.
that's what's on next. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that because we spoke before? What is the altitude like in the Mexico City one? Is it a high
Oh,
altitude?
yeah, that's the one. What is it, 4 or 5 thousand feet? It's
Yeah,
ridiculously high. If you hit a regular forehand with your same tension of the strings, it's going to go. The ball's go 20 feet. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a really tough adjustments. I'm going to string my rackets tighter, get there a few days earlier, and I might have to swing a bit instead of taking these long strokes.
yeah.
You short your swing, is what I was told. That's the key.
Right.
Yeah,
You've been there before, so you can
yeah,
might find it a little bit easier this time. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you very much for talking to us today. We always love hearing how you got on and your successes, the highs and the lows. So appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mark. And we'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks, Robert. Cheers.
Thank you.